3rd, Chapter 10, Part 3 of Armadale. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Armadale by Wilkie Collins. Book the 3rd, Chapter 10, Part 3. A woman and a lad were behind the counter, besides the man who was serving me. The woman civilly addressed the new customer. "What can we have the pleasure of doing for you, miss?" After pointing at first by looking me straight in the face, she answered, "Nothing, thank you, at present. I'll come back when the shop is empty." She went out. The three people in the shop looked at me in silence. In silence, on my side, I paid for my purchases and left the place. I don't know how I might have felt if I had been in my usual spirits. In the anxious, unsettled state I am in now, I can't deny it, the girl stung me. In the weakness of the moment, for it was nothing else, I was on the point of matching her petty spitefulness by spitefulness quite as petty on my side. I had actually got as far as the whole length of the street, on my way to the major's cottage, bent on telling him the secret of his daughter's morning walks, before my better sense came back to me. When I did cool down, I turned round at once, and took the way home. No, no, Miss Milroy, mere temporary mischief making at the cottage, which would only end in your father forgiving you, and in Armadale profiting by his indulgence, will nothing like pay the debt I owe you. I don't forget that your heart is set on Armadale, and that the major, however he may talk, has always ended hitherto in giving you your own way. My head may be getting duller and duller, but it has not quite failed me yet. In the meantime, there is Mother Oldershaw's letter waiting obstinately to be answered, and here am I not knowing what to do about it yet. Shall I answer it or not? It doesn't matter for the present. There are some hours still to spare before the post goes out. Suppose I asked Armadale to lend me the money? I should enjoy getting something out of him, and I believe, in his present situation with Miss Milroy, he would do anything to be rid of me. Mean enough, this, on my part. Who, when you hate and despise a man, as I hate and despise Armadale, who cares for looking mean in his eyes? And yet my pride, or something else, I don't know what, shrinks from it. 2:30. Only 2:30. Oh, the dreadful weariness of these long summer days! I can't keep thinking and thinking any longer. I must do something to relieve my mind. Can I go to my piano? No, I'm not fit for it. Work? No, I shall get thinking again if I take to my needle. A man in my place would find refuge in drink. I am not a man, and I can't drink. I'll dawdle over my dresses, and put my things tidy. Has an hour passed? More than an hour. It seems like a minute. I can't look back through these leaves, but I know I wrote somewhere that I felt myself getting nearer and nearer to some end that was still hidden from me. The end is hidden no longer. The cloud is off my mind. The blindness has gone from my eyes. I see it. I see it. It came to me. I never sought it. If I was lying on my deathbed, I could swear, with a safe conscience, I never sought it. I was only looking over my things. I was as idly and as frivolously employed as the most idle and most frivolous woman living. I went through my dresses and my linen. What could be more innocent? Children go through their dresses and their linen. It was such a long summer day, and I was so tired of myself. I went to my boxes next. I looked over the large box first, which I usually leave open, and then I tried the small box, which I always keep locked. From one thing to the other, I came at last to the bundle of letters at the bottom, the letters of the man for whom I once sacrificed and suffered everything, the man who has made me what I am. 100 times I had determined to burn his letters, but I have never burned them. This time all I said was, 'I won't read his letters,' and I did read them. The villain! The false, cowardly, heartless villain! What have I to do with his letters now? Oh, the misery of being a woman! Oh, the meanness that our memory of a man can tempt us to, when our love for him is dead and gone! I read the letters. I was so lonely and so miserable, I read the letters. I came to the last, the letter he wrote to encourage me when I hesitated as the terrible time came nearer and nearer, the letter that revived me when my resolution failed at the 11th hour. I read on, line after line, till I came to these words: 'I really have no patience with such absurdities as you have written to me. You say I am driving you on to do what is beyond a woman's courage. Am I? I might refer you to any collection of trials, English or foreign, to show you that you are utterly wrong; but such collections may be beyond your reach, and I will only refer you to a case in yesterday's newspaper. The circumstances are totally different from our circumstances, but the example of resolution in a woman is an example worth your notice. You will find among the law reports a married woman charged with fraudulently representing herself to be the missing widow of an officer in the merchant service, who was supposed to have been drowned. The name of the prisoner's husband, living, and the name of the officer, a very common one, both as to Christian and surname, happened to be identically the same. There was money to be got by it, sorely wanted by the prisoner's husband, to whom she was devotedly attached, if the fraud had succeeded. The woman took it all on herself. Her husband was hapless and ill, and the bailiffs were after him. The circumstances, as you may read for yourself, were all in her favor, and were so well managed by her that the lawyers themselves acknowledged she might have succeeded if the supposed drowned man had not turned up alive and well in the nick of time to confront her. The scene took place at the lawyer's office, and came out in the evidence at the police court. The woman was handsome, and the sailor was a good natured man. He wanted at first, if the lawyers would have allowed him, to let her off. He said to her, among other things, 'You didn't count on the drowned man coming back, alive and hearty, did you, ma'am?' 'It was lucky for you,' she said. 'I didn't count on it. You escaped the sea, but you wouldn't have escaped me.' 'Why, what would you have done, if you had known I was coming back?' says the sailor. She looked him steadily in the face, and answered, 'I would have killed you.' There! Do you think such a woman as that would have written to tell me I was pressing her further than she had courage to go? A handsome woman, too, like yourself. You would drive some men in my position to wish they had her now in your place.' I read no further. When I had got on, line by line, to those words, it burst on me like a flash of lightning. In an instant I saw it as plainly as I see it now. It is horrible. It is unheard of. It outdares all daring. But, if I can only nerve myself to face one terrible necessity, it is to be done. I may personate the richly provided widow of Allan Armadale of Thorpe Ambrose, if I can count on Allan Armadale's death in a given time. There, in plain words, is the frightful temptation under which I now feel myself sinking. It is frightful in more ways than one, for it has come straight out of that other temptation to which I yielded in the bygone time. Yes, there the letter has been waiting for me in my box, to serve a purpose never